Kelly. We have Gina. We have Lori. We have Ally. Meg will be joining us, I think. And we have a couple of guests here, I
Is that
guess.
Reggie?
That's Reggie.
Hey, Reg, hi.
That's right.
Hi,
Hey, Reg, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Great.
Okay.
Are you wearing a social worker hat?
This is my social work intern.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's a senior now, right?
Hi, Al.
All
How
right.
are you? Nice to see you.
See you.
So you're actually working together now, a little bit?
Yes, a
Yes.
lot.
A lot.
Yeah, good stuff. That's fabulous.
All right, very nice. Okay, we'll make a little note of that.
So kudos to you guys for having on October 11th that Thrive coordination with the town. What an awesome, awesome event. So thank you for that. I can see that's the connection with Quinnipiac, Reggie there, right?
Yes, so we're super excited about having everybody here as well. So as much as we can do to help out, that is our goal. So
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Just wait 1 second and we'll begin.
See how they're doing that Wednesday event. Yeah, it's just
so
great.
great.
I know.
Yeah, that's just what we were talking about.
Exactly what we did.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 11:05 officially of the AM. We've got the attendance. We need a motion to take a look at the July, which we have, thanks to Jessica's hard work, giving us a draft of the July 11th. It's only a draft until we approve it. Do we have a motion, or do we have any corrections, any edits that you saw that needed to be changed in that draft? So it's a combination of my notes and Jessica's very good notes, putting this thing together, and Nancy as well. Do we have a motion by somebody to approve the minutes?
I moved to.
Okay. Do we have a second? Bonnie? Okay. Those on the committee, remember, there's 7 of us here, have to vote, and we have a quorum. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nancy, aye.
Am I?
We're 5-0, right? Yeah, we're 5-0 here. Okay. All right, on the agenda, we have 5 items, actually, counting new business. We'll cover them very quickly. The 2026 committee budget, we have the printout sheet for us. We are A4010-100. Jessica's salary, and she works with multiple committees across the town, is on there. And that's a bulk of what ours, we only have basically $200 of office and miscellaneous to work with. So, there are a couple of concerns that I have about that budget. And Nancy and I are going to, hopefully I will get a meeting set up today based on your date's availability, Nance. With
Okay.
Amber, to be able to sit down. I sat down with Jim Reed and tried to cover a couple of things. Number one, and just jumping ahead a little bit, I think that microphone stand is important. I mean, for a $60, $65, $70 item, having a microphone stand for all of it, they don't have one here. I mean, just having the town having one. Jim said, no problem with that. I've researched it. I gave them the information so that we're going to get that.
Is that out of our budget?
It's debatable. That's a decision between Amber, whether we're going to use opioid money, whether it qualifies for that. It doesn't qualify for that, but I think it'll be paid. And hopefully we'll buy it in the 2025 budget with monies available that we might have to be able to pay for that expenditure. We also have, and Nancy has brought this up to me constantly about the ads that we've taken in the paper, and Bonnie has been so good about doing these and then laying this money out of her own pocket. That cannot be. So my goal with Nancy and I, when we sit down with Amber, we need a realistic goal I'm asking you, what is a realistic goal for advertisement in the Shelter Island Reporter for the year?
I don't even know, you know better what they cost.
It's $250 for a color setup,
Quarter page.
for a quarter page color setup, which is what we've traditionally used for programs.
So if we do how many programs a year?
That's
And
the
we're planning a third program this year. We're planning a
Yeah.
winter program, which we
Yeah.
haven't planned yet, but we're talking about it. So that's 3 right there.
Yeah,
Or, you know,
I honestly,
advertise the
yeah.
grief group
Yeah.
and so forth.
yeah, I honestly think it's going to be 4 or 5. So I think, but it's got to be somewhere, we've got to multiply that by a 4 or 5 factor. And we'll discuss that with her, and that's either going to be $1,250 or $1,000, depending on what they can afford. Okay, but that and our goal is, and I want to say this publicly, is to Nancy being reimbursed for this year. And I don't expect any,
Bonnie.
Bonnie, excuse me, I'm sorry. What did I say?
That's okay. I was reimbursed by, I've been in touch with Sergeant Rando about being reimbursed for the overdose awareness event.
But what about the other one?
The only one that's outstanding is the brain event. But, you know, as in the past, I'm happy to contribute that. And then for next year's budget, we can make sure that we have those things covered.
Okay,
That would be-
all right, so I just want to make a little note to myself when we meet with Amber
One of
that,
the things I think that needs to happen is before an event, you submit the estimation of costs and where they're coming from,
yeah,
and then you put in the receipts, so.
Yeah.
What about Zoom costs also?
Yeah, that's something we have to talk about because, you know, we've yet to really mesh with the town system, and we maybe should explore that going forward. I mean, I keep a Zoom account for my own uses, and so I offer it to the committee, because, you know, it doesn't cost me any additional money to do so. But, you know, if anything changes, the committee itself might want to have that organized.
all right, Nance, we got that, right? We'll bring that up, that Zoom cost?
Yes, yes.
All right, other than, you know, again, this was an experiment. We went into this idea that we were going to do this for a year, which we've done. I think just having Meg Larson and having the town having a meeting place, having access to things that we didn't have access to before is a plus. So I'm definitely in favor of continuing this another year and play it year by year, right, Nance? Is that a okay strategy?
Year by year works. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we're not making any long-term commitments, and because I think there are some things that the committee wants to do that we have to see that the town is willing to meet us halfway on some issues. And particularly the social worker issue and moving forward with you know, that's another budgetary item that I would like to just bring up because it's a real concern. Have there been any formal discussions between Dr. Dolger and Amber Rock Williams as the supervisor? There's been informal, I've been labeled as informal talks between the two, that there's a feeling that they could split a social worker salary between 2-3 days, 2.5, however you want to work it out, but somewhere down the middle. The school has that need, the town has that need. We've asked for a full-time social worker, but realistically, Nance, based on this budget, where they want to come in at it, you know, unless we had grant monies to be able to fund, you know, the social worker salary to a large extent, that's not going to happen. So I think what we do is we keep pushing them, those two parties, to get together, formalize an agreement for 2026. I think that is, am I on the right path there to push that?
Right.
You know, whether it can start in January, whether it starts in the spring, or whenever it starts, it needs to start. It needs to, and we need an appropriate location, so when that person is working with us those 2 or 3 days per week, we're not shoveling our social worker to areas that are not conducive for the work that needs to be done. So we need a private place, and that's another part of the conversation that I think we have to have. Does anybody want to elaborate? I'd love to hear from you.
I would like to ask Alla, how many hours do you have right now?
I don't have a full-time caseload and,
No, I mean, how many hours are they paying you for right now?
16.
16. Mhm.
So that's a basic, a 2-day a week.
Yeah, and they're not really paying me at market rate, as they paid my predecessor. So,
Really?
correct, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's a consideration that we need to know.
Yeah, yes,
Thank
But
you.
right.
Well, I think the Chief Reed who I first wanted to, so the hiring committee for the social work position that we had last year, and then we disbanded, or we didn't disband, we pulled the posting because there are several things that have to be done before you hire a full-time social worker or any other social worker that, likes working in professional settings, which is social worker needs a dedicated office. There's all these liability forms, and we have to work out a lot of stuff with the town lawyer, which I don't think we have. There was a lot of questions about my insurance, which have not totally been answered. So I think like first we need to make the position of the social worker a stable and attractive one before we, search for someone else to fill it.
Okay. And with this in mind, I know that we used to have Lucille, for instance, and her predecessors write that yearly report. Have you submitted a yearly report on because what you're saying and all your recommendations should be in writing. And some of that needs to obviously go to Meg as our liaison, and needs to come to Nancy and I in the committee to be able to look at, to push. And the copy needs to go to obviously to the supervisor for the town board. So anything that you can do in terms of, I love that terms of a dedicated office and all the other legal recommendations about forms to fill out, and privacy issues and all those things. That would be very, very helpful if you could do that for us. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be lengthy, but just give us a, if you were in Nancy and my shoes or the committee shoes, how do we need to move forward? What's the best strategy in terms of moving forward in your estimation? What would be your recommendations? Is that fair to, all right? I mean, I think we should,
Can I say, in my estimation, I think this year we should leave it alone with me being the social worker and Reggie's my boots on the ground, 16 hours a week, and then
okay.
So I'll write down, and so we already in January, and then we had this hiring committee or something that went until about April. It was Chief Reed, Meg, Coco, Amber, Brock Williams, and we have a list. I'll send you guys the list of what we need. But so we need to solidify the role. That's number one. So we already have a list. I'll find it, and there are like several branches, and we keep fizzling out kind of and figuring out, each of those branches.
There's also a supervisor that the town is paying, correct?
Yes.
And is everybody aware of that?
Well, so I am an LMSW, and so basically I am not allowed to practice without having an LCSW above me, right? So I have to have supervision. So the town pays for me to have supervision once every 2 weeks. Because I'm investigating all this, I'm now working with the state to perhaps get a waiver, so we can practice counseling. There's all these things which I'm just discovering this week to make sure this is a legitimate operation. So before, let me just make sure it's all legitimate and buttoned up, and this is like actually more than 16 hours a week just doing this part of the job. So, and then I will report back, but so I'm working with the state, I'm working with the New York not New York Board, the Education Department,
The licensing people? Oh, yes.
Office of Professions, the
Yes.
whole 9 yards. So I'm trying to make sure we have permission from New York State for my role to actually exist, for what I do to actually be legal and whatever. Then we can talk to the lawyers about, just making sure I have insurance and stuff like that and the right kinds. And then then I think that needs to get done first.
All right, so you are suggesting our Plan A needs to become Plan B?
Yeah, this is something that we
Yeah.
have been working on.
Okay.
So I just came in late because I was in another meeting that ran late, so I'm not sure how the conversation started. But this
started
is
by
something that
just
I'll,
Pursuing the town.
It's a town board issue to decide how much, if they want a social
Yeah.
worker, and how much they can afford to put into that role, part-time, full-time.
yeah.
And then after that comes everything else. So
Right, yeah,
You know,
so
if
that's
it's-
something that we have been working on, like Ala said, we met with her at the beginning of the year.
Right.
We went over the possibilities of hiring a new person. There's a whole bunch of things that we need to like shake out before we can truly bring someone on
Right.
board full-time. So
Is it,
it's kind of premature at this point to be having this discussion while we're still hashing those things out.
And this is not in our budget. We started out by
Correct.
talking about our budget. This is really not our budget, correct? This is the town budget. We're separate.
Right,
Yes.
correct.
So,
just-
so all this is very important, but we're talking about the Health and Wellness Committee budget right now.
Yeah,
it can be a recommendation from the Health and Wellness Committee that this town needs a full-time social worker. And
Yes.
then Ala can substantiate the amount of hours she probably puts in versus the 16 she gets paid for.
just in terms of funding, is it possible, I don't know if you guys do continuing education and get any kind of specialization in terms of addiction counseling, but if you had that designation, would it then be possible to use some of that opioid money to cover the cost if she was
Yeah,
that's,
specifically
that's a
doing
good
that twice a
strategy.
week or
you know,
something?
if we
Yes.
got a KSAC supervisor, who is also a LCSW, that would be beautiful.
Right.
yeah,
That's a certified alcohol and substance abuse counselor.
We already have allotted that money, and that wouldn't actually work.
Yeah,
We-
no,
we've
just gonna
looked
say,
at-
that's something that we're.
It's another conversation,
That's
yeah.
outside of your purview.
the only thing I could ask you, Meg, is that the conversation once in a while come from the town back to the committee so that we are appraised. Because we're shooting our mouth off here,
Right.
making statements, and you're saying, not so fast, well, it would be nice to know an update every 6 months. Where are we with the social worker position? I mean, I don't hear anything back.
Just ask me,
Okay,
just ask me,
Okay.
because I'm not gonna remember that it's been 6 months because
Right.
there's so much on my plate, but if you say, hey, what's the deal? I have no problem filling you in.
okay.
Just
And
ask me.
I just want to circle back, Ala and Reggie, and thank you for being here today. I think our goal as a committee is to keep up a communication with you all so that we can do the programming and the work for the community that is our purview. And we really appreciate your participation today, so thank you.
And it was very good news to all of us, a nice surprise to hear that Reggie was involved since we've known you for years as a friend of our committee.
Yes. And in your piece is, a part of our mission statement. I mean, we can't pull off the mission statement without the help of the town social worker too. That's a key role. So I think it's a key piece, All right, anybody else on,
I have to state a correction. I looked up my receipt from the reporter. It's $225 for a quarter page. We
225?
stated it by $25.
Got it, 225 it is.
That's totally predictable.
So, and what I hear is that you've been reimbursed for the stuff that we just did on the opioid, through the opioid grant, but the stuff that we did on the brain, which was a quarter page ad, 225, that came out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So Meg, that's what we're looking at.
I don't mind as a contract.
No,
I just want the committee to be aware what the expenses will be for next year.
Yeah,
And we don't know whether the reporter will be increasing that cost either. So maybe
one-
that's a question we should ask.
so one of the big things, Meg, was when we talked very initially about the committee budget, is that we run these special events throughout the year, and we do advertise, and if it's 225, times 4 or 5 events that we're running during the course of a year, we need between $1,000 and $1,250. We have a budget of basically $200 right now for
Yes.
supplies and materials, of the $750, and obviously, Jessica said, most of it is salary going to Jessica for 750, for the 550 of that. So we're not asking for a lot. We understand it's a very tough budget year. Understand that. Not that every year isn't a challenging budget year, but this year in particular, it's probably more so than ever before. And it's predicated on elections and it's very complicated, but obviously we're not looking to blow the bank.
What I would recommend doing is figuring out how many events we think you're gonna do that you're gonna wanna put in the newspaper.
Yeah,
And then also think about the survey, right? Because you guys are working on the survey.
Correct.
We can definitely launch that online, but if you wanted to do a mailing for it, we'd have to figure out how much that is. And
okay,
so if we did like a postcard in every mailbox, I think we know it's like $500 and something
Right.
dollars or whatever. We know that, we can find that number.
Okay.
So if you figure out how you want to approach that, then we can put all those numbers together and that can be your your operating budget.
yeah. Well, that would be other than the $200 for office and miscellaneous, a good number for us is we do run about 4 events per year, maybe 5, but so it's going to either be 1,000 or 1,250 based on, well, that was based on 250, so it's multiplied by 225 if we do the math on that real quick. 225 times 4 is $900, right?
Right.
So we run another one, then it's 1,125. I would, or something like
If
that.
you figure four events, then a mailing for the survey.
Yeah, then we're talking $1,500.
$1,500.
We're talking $1,500, correct.
And then the library has been kind enough to do all these printings for us, but are they okay with that, or do we need to
I purchased the
consider?
paper.
Yeah, paper, waters, I mean, it's
Terry's a
small, but.
great supporter of whatever work we're
Yeah.
Okay.
trying to accomplish, but it's a good point, and there is value to that, and maybe we need to make the library more prominently kind of
Yes.
featured in our work.
Yes,
And that's something we can discuss how to do that better.
yeah. Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword. They get a lot of kudos out of that too, working with these kinds of events that we're putting together, and they're a focal point. I mean, they're an important part of that, the success of that. But I think, Peg, $1,500 would be a good number, for us,
That's what
for the mailings and for the surveys and for the ads in the paper. That would be the one line. Nance, we really don't have to meet if that's the case.
If that's the case, yeah, I mean,
that-
these are all the
we're
things
giving it
that
to
we
Meg, you
talked
could give it
about.
to Amber, and that would be our major
Yeah.
focal point for next year. And then it's not like it's a wish list, it's just a reality.
Well, yeah, that's what you do.
Can't have committee people laying out money, their own money to pay for these things. And Bonnie was nice enough to do that, so, but for the future, we want to get away from that. Anyhow, all right, let's move on. That was a long time on that budget, but it was necessary. It was
Well,
necessary.
Jim, if it saved us a meeting, then
Done.
Listen,
I'll take it.
yes, that's always a good thought. Item number 2 is the appraisal of the summer program. So what I did in that, when I broke it all down, is I broke the 3 programs down. Obviously, the World Brain Day, the Vigil for Hope, and for the survey moving forward. So let's take them one at a time. I think we could do these fairly quickly. On Brain Day, the location was the community center under the tent. Shelter Island Library staff support was great. We had a total, I think, about 60 to 70 people in attendance.
Very good turnout.
82. 82,
That was
I was
82.
told.
82, 82 is good. All right, I like that number. We'll get rid of the other. Public relations, I think we did a pretty good job getting the word out. Anybody have any recommendations on anything else that we could have done?
I was just wondering if the time was appropriate. A
Okay,
90-minute program versus an hour.
Yeah, it's, I
okay.
think an hour, I think when you have people listening and speaking, I think people that an hour and a half that goes a little long, especially if you're doing questions and answers, because that always gets cut short. Then keep it, the speaking part, maybe an hour, and then
So
allow.
the goal in future programs will be try to take programs from 90 minutes to 60 minutes with a question and answer at the end, maybe,
Yeah, so it runs over a little bit.
Yes, okay,
You don't have to.
okay.
90
And then
minutes.
people can also leave at the Q&A if
That's a
They want to.
right, it's a great point, though. It's a good point.
With the number of speakers that we had, it was really impossible to keep it to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's something
And maybe we were too ambitious with that. Maybe we didn't need this, most of these programs you go to, it's one speaker that speaks for 40 minutes and then they have a Q&A, and that's the kind of format. So maybe to try to put 5 speakers out, or 6 speakers in a short period of time is not realistic. So maybe the number of speakers is another way of shortening the program.
I like the panel format though, because I think
Okay.
getting several different perspectives on a topic is really useful.
Yeah.
And keeps the audience very interested.
Yes, it's
Okay.
more interesting that way than to have one person speaking for 40
No,
minutes.
yeah, I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying the panel of 5 could be the panel of 3 or 4. Every little bit helps in terms of trying to manage 90 minutes to 60 minutes.
Kind of also just
Well, of course, next year we have to see what our program's going to be.
Right,
And
okay,
a lot of that's going to be based on the,
right,
on the interviews.
okay. In terms of speakers, Nancy did the welcome, Dr. J did the neurology part of it, Sarah did the physical therapy and exercise, Alyssa did, who was the nutritionist, did new nutrition and brain health, Anthony Rando did bike, pedestrian, pool safety, Jack Thielberg then was the protocol on brain injury, and then so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that was 6 speakers. That obviously was going to take a lot of time. So the total of 6, if we cut that down to 3 or 4, I think you have, and then a good Q&A at the end.
And I think for more, to make
Panel.
it more like that panel, sitting at a table, so that
Yes.
I really feel like, okay, I'd like to address the
Yes.
stroke, I'd like to, I have a
Yes.
question for you.
Okay,
In that way would be really great.
okay. Nancy, you okay with that?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay, all right. And we had handouts.
I would consolidate handouts. There were a lot of repetition and
Okay.
handouts that never got used. It was overwhelming for people. If you looked at them at the table, they were totally overwhelmed. So less handouts, more, concise information.
Okay, all right. Any other concerns you had with thing?
somebody had asked if we had a agenda or,
Yeah,
what's it called? Like we do.
program?
A program.
A program,
that would be good.
okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, we did have a program, it was on the front of Jim's handout, but I don't know that
Yeah.
people really understood.
Yeah,
When I handed it out, I said, this is the program for the evening and additional information.
yeah.
Can separate them.
I think that's probably a pretty good idea. People like a program, see where we're going with this. Lessons learned, I think we have learned the lessons that we just recorded. Anybody else on World Brain Day? Okay, moving right along, Vigil for Hope. Gina, again, spectacular job putting it together. A lot of tremendous feedback from people. Thought the speakers were really very, very good. The only problem was we ran out of light. And obviously it was a windy, brisk day and the stuff was flying around. And so, the setup and cleanup one, beautiful, the cleanup, I couldn't have asked for a better volunteer. Everybody pitched in. It went.
Everybody picked up their own chairs.
It
amazing.
was without being asked.
Yeah.
I mean, people, I didn't even get to them and said, could you pick up your chair? People just did it.
But I was worried about their safety in
I was too on the hill.
those chairs.
No, so-
I think we really have to.
So that's why lessons learned, we start at 6:30, we end at 7:30. We still have light at 7:30 to 7:45, 15 minutes for people to pick up materials, look at the Narcan training stuff and all that kind of stuff, I think is important. So moving it up a half hour, I think is critical. And having that stand where the microphone is in one place, all you have to do is just turn it up or down based on the height of the person, but it's going to work a lot better, and we thank the
Interruption.
the Legion for giving us the sound system, which was very nice. We did pay them $250 for the opioid grant. And we will continue to do the same thing. We have it in-house. It's good for them. It's good for us. It's a good system and it works.
Good question, Jim. I just want to go back to the lighting one more time.
Yes.
I know there are floodlights there because
Yes.
kids play basketball.
Right.
Is there a way to, on overdose awareness, to make them come on earlier? Just as sort of a safety backup
Got it.
in case
'cause there is
people are
lighting.
lingering.
It's a great point.
To linger,
Maybe at
Yes.
can make it
7:30.
safe.
Yes.
That would be.
Yeah, for this event. And I think obviously, it becomes a hangout, and then kids were hanging out there to 8:30, 9 o'clock, a lot of noise, neighbors complained, but this is an event.
Right.
This is safety. This is, and again, it's not a easy little trek up that hill, and there's stones and things like that, and people are moving furniture, and so the lights for that evening, I will check definitely with Jim Reed or with, I think the school. I think Mike is the guy that does that, but I will check.
Thank you.
Mike Dunning. Okay,
I am thinking that after 5 years, and I don't have any specific ideas yet, and we have a year to figure this out, but I'm thinking that after doing this for 5 years, we may want to think about how we can change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Change the format, because we've kept the same format every year. And it's worked well, but I think that people are they know exactly what to expect. And maybe we can do something different, like a panel, like Q&A,
Yeah.
just something to make the program a little bit different next year.
I mean, Nance, I know, did I put that down here that, I guess I didn't, but that to me is something, I think it's been very, very successful for 5 years, but I do agree with Nancy. I love the fact that we change things up a little bit. It keeps things interesting. I like getting the audience a little bit more involved rather than just sit there, listen, which is a lot of great messages going out to them. I think they're very appreciative. But I think having some time where they can respond, contribute, add a story, do something. We have a year to figure it out. But I love that idea, Nancy, of somehow changing it up a little bit.
Gina, how do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
I walked away from kind of the same thing, like 5 years this has worked, we've done the same, it's been amazing, but maybe now moving forward, looking at it a little bit differently. The only thing is when you do open it up to people to share, it's a very sensitive topic, so you have to tread that water carefully.
Right.
Not just open it up because you don't know what you're gonna get. So, we have to be thoughtful about how to do that. I did reach out to a couple of people from the AA groups to kind of get their input. That could be also something on your event. I don't know, Reggie and Ala, if you have the opportunity, if you get a good turnout from AA or NA or, the people that might come to your event, to ask, like, what could we do? Is there any suggestions there, for that particular event? Because a lot of them did come, they do support that and push it in AA. So
I had a thought, Gina, maybe the musical portion could be engaging the audience, because people love to sing.
Yes,
Yeah.
And
I agree.
It's an emotional kind
Great
of
point.
piece for people
Yeah.
without being sort of onerous in any way.
Yeah.
It could be maybe useful to try that.
I like that.
And because of the sensitivity, maybe solicit questions before they start the program. Maybe let them write them down and then
There you go.
they'll be responding to it.
Or you know what they do, like at the 92nd Street Y, they walk around with little
Yeah,
file cards,
Yeah.
and people write stuff down and hand it to people walking up and down the aisle, and then the panel people look them over and decide which questions seem
correct. Yeah.
appropriate, yeah.
relevant and good to use.
And there is something really powerful in being able to share your story. So I don't know, I mean, I feel like if it was sensitive, they probably wouldn't share it, right? But
Just that it's emotional. I've been to them where they open it up and it's heavy, it's emotional, so you just have to know that.
But if they're writing it down rather than speaking, it can be anonymous.
But I mean, sharing their story?
Yeah, sharing their
Their
story
down.
or,
Just a question.
Questions, yeah, that makes sense for questions.
The other thing, when we run these programs, a half-page, don't have to put your name on it, suggestions on improvement for next year. Somewhere where, whether they put it in a box,
Yeah.
or they send it to us, or we put, somehow figure that out. But they get some feedback from them on how we can improve the program. We're looking to improve the program what are some of your suggestions? Now, we're making a stab right here, knowing the fact that, and I think the realization is 5 years, it's worked phenomenal and it's worked great. But it's time to change it up a little bit. How do you change that up? And then how do you change it up from there? So I think having a strategy over the next 2 to 3 years of how the program may be evolving, we need to ask the people, and it's basically, I want to say it, but out of the 100, whether it's 120 people there or 100 people there, what would you say? 70% of them are repeaters that have been to a vet?
More than that.
Or more than
It's
that?
the same crowd.
It is the same crowd. So then the next question we have to ask ourselves is
How can we-
how to reach the other people that are, because we are getting, I look out at that audience and recognize the same people year after year, and they're there for a reason and they're getting something out of it. But how do we get more people there? You know,
Right.
that's something that I think we have time to work on that too.
Yes. So luckily, we do have a year to do this.
Here.
Well, we could do one more program.
Any other comments on this program?
Maybe we could start a little earlier so that they
Well, 6:30
to look around at things.
Well, you think 6:30 is not early?
At 6. No?
I don't know, it's up to you guys. What do you think? There's certain people that you said something about, just that, you know, when it starts to darken a little. First of all, if you start too early, the sun can become a problem because you're looking into the sun.
You got
As the sun-
dinner thing, dinner
Yeah.
kind of falls, do people eat before, do people eat after, when it's too early, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You know,
there is something to
About
think
the
about.
sunset that is
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah,
So we
I
have
think
to-
there's
yeah.
that, and I think the half hour will be dramatic.
Right.
We're not doing 10 or 15 minutes, we're doing a half hour. And by the way, next year at this time, we sit here at this table and say, you know what? Let's go to 6. Well, let's go to 6:15, 6:15 to 7:15. But we're making a move in the right direction. Hey, by the way, we make this half hour move and we find that with 30, 40 people less,
Right, right.
ouch, maybe we done something wrong. So, but these are all good thoughts that we'll put down in our minutes that we need to, we'll have for next year.
The other thing too is I think we should really try to attract the other communities, ask the North Fork ones to come.
Wait, Reggie,
get more
Reggie,
in
were you about to say
South.
something? Reggie, were you about to speak?
Well, I think Laura took it took it out of my brain. But I also have a question, like how so do people sign up for the program? Like, do they sign up for these events, or is
No.
it they just show up?
They
or
just
anything
show
like
up.
They just show up.
Because I was thinking, because one about the feedback thing, what brought to my mind is how we do our feedback with our campers is we wait and like a few days and we send out an email and just kind of people can sit on it a little bit and figure out, like, process what happened, and then we send out an email to the parents like, how did your kid enjoy summer camp? What are some things we can improve on? So if you can collect like a email list at the beginning, have like people can sign up for emails and you can send out emails
Mhm.
at the like a couple days after the event, so people had that time to process what happened, or
Yeah.
they process their feedback. So
And we don't have to ask everyone. I love that thought, Reggie. We don't have to ask everyone. We could just select key people we know who attend and just get their thoughts on it,
Yeah, and I'd like to see more kids out there. I don't know if the school invited them, and school's not in session, but
Right.
we could have had a bigger audience with them.
Yeah.
I think the only way to get kids is by having kids that present,
Yeah,
which after, now that there's programming, we can certainly pick on kids to share what they've learned or share, something, would be a great way.
I also, in closing, I would say that the school does play a part here, and I think we can help them and they can help us and these events, because we surely need to get more parents to the evening events for that they have at school. But having some of the teachers there are teachers that live on the island. How about the health education teacher? I'm the health education teacher. I know school's not back in session. This is an important topic. I'm the health educator. I'm there. I don't care where I live. I'm coming to this event. I think it's
I know
important to be
that-
seen.
Dr. Dolger promoted it at the Board of Ed meeting.
Yeah,
I know that, and I know all the administrators were there, all 3.
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the thing though about you know, the message that how you lead. You know, I just being in a school district for 35 years, we had, you know, central office people that were leaders and central office people that weren't. And you know, here's my expectation. My expectation is that, yeah, I'd like to see some faculty. I would say at the first faculty member, I threw it out there, sent it, guess what? It was me, Todd, and what's her face? The assistant super there. I forget her name. But the three of us were there last year, we're there this year. I haven't seen a faculty member. You need to get involved. These are important town events that make us, we need to be present. We need to be represented there, you know? That's my expectation. As I know it's not part of the school year. I know I can't mandate it. I'm not looking across union lines here. However, this is how you improve your image within this town, you know?
Can I
It's a little bit of leadership on the part of, you know, throwing it out there, just asking and I was saying, you know, let's raise the
Yeah,
bar.
I think we need to move on because I think
Yeah.
we all agree and we don't have any
Yeah.
power to
Just
do
also
anything.
apologize for not being there, but she had it down as the 31st in her head, so she'll be there next year.
Okay.
I'll just say in closing for me, what this event, the power of this event is that it comes from you, Gina. It has this
Yes.
emotional and sort of, I don't know, just your special take on things at its core. And I think we want to work on it to make it a more effective event, but we also want to keep that heart
I
of
think you want
it.
to keep it.
And so I want to encourage you. I
Yeah.
think it was a beautiful event.
And speakers did, they spoke from the heart. I mean, Mary Ann and they
was
all,
beautiful.
and that's the key.
Yeah.
That, I have to say, even Anthony Rando had heart in there,
Yeah.
He
you know,
was
as a police,
wonderful. He was
police
terrific.
officer.
Nice.
And I was taken back just with that connection, and I felt really, I thought that was an amazing connection that he made. He didn't just speak through the facts, and he did speak from his heart, and I think that was really important, so,
Yep.
yeah. Good. All right.
I was going to suggest homework, but this also might be helpful. I mean, we all have different social circles, and in the next year, maybe we could ask if people knew about the event, and if they didn't attend, why not? And that might help us to figure out how to reach the
Okay.
people who didn't come. And then there must be other, because you said the theme of this year was healing. So the theme came from where? Are there other addiction awareness events that are out there? And we could look at how they structure their programs and ideas from that.
All right. All right.
Okay.
To be continued. All right, grief counseling. Bonnie and Nancy, give us a quick, you had the one session that went through the month of.
We had one group this summer that met, we've programmed the work around 6 weeks of hour and a half sessions. And we had one group this week that came, the last meeting was last week. It was an interesting group, varied losses, varied personalities. We all learned a lot from working together. And I feel, and Nancy, I hope you'll agree that it was a really successful, group this year.
Yes, this group has really bonded with each other in a very profound way. In fact, we were already having a reunion scheduled because they can't seem to keep away from each other. So
That's a great accomplishment, though.
it's very nice.
It's a good sign that it's
It is.
working.
Yeah.
And anything else about the 6-week program, go for an hour and a half? How many attendees did we have in this group?
Well, we keep a limit to the groups so
Okay.
that each person really has time to
Okay.
express themselves. So the maximum is 6 people. This group, we had some join and then drop out and some others come in. And so it varied, but we had in the end 5 steady.
It was a core group of 5
participant,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
As I said, who all bonded with each other. And it was very profound. Not that it ever isn't, but but it was.
You know, the hospice that I went through, we had a program like dealing with the holidays, pre-Christmas, pre-Thanksgiving, you know, how to really work with it, and they invited everybody, the graduates of the program. And it was wonderful, and they had one main speaker who kind of led the entire thing, but everybody shared. And they were invited to bring like a picture of their lost one or whatever. And they celebrated a little with food, but it was a good community.
That's a good suggestion, yeah.
I think
'Cause we-
hospice runs a holiday program
Yeah.
for all the holidays.
I was going to say, Bonnie or Nancy, when you use the term graduates, people that have been in the program successfully have gone through the program, whether it's last year or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, do they ever come back to speak, especially early in the program, talking about how the impact of the program on and where they are in life?
No, we really like to kind of keep
Okay.
the groups
Okay, right, okay.
safe and contained
Okay.
for the course of the 6 weeks, but
Okay.
we've had reunions with other groups in the past and try to keep it with, that group.
Okay.
But the idea of doing something that brought all the groups together we've talked about it, and it's something I think could be really good, especially around the holidays.
Yeah,
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I
That would be
think
good.
our focus was like the empty chair.
Yeah.
It was very meaningful.
Okay, thank you. Nance, anything else?
No, I think I'd like to move ahead and talk about the needs assessment program.
Yes, okay.
If everybody's ready.
Yeah, we are. So I tried to break this down into taking John's, what he had sent to us. It was what people like about Shelter Island, all the positives. Number two, I guess the concerns expressed by residents. And that was Hispanics, seniors, young adults, families with children, part-time residents, LGBTQ, and women. Those were the groups that John has cited. And I tried to break the questions down to where are we today? And revisiting a timeline, to make it more realistic for us. Do we want to simplify it? So let's do it one at a time. Where are we today? Give us a little, your perspective on where we are today. We have completed all the.
No. We've completed a lot of individual interviews. We have a proposal for some group interviews, especially seniors. And I know that we are missing some groups in terms of a depth of feedback. So we're still in the process of dealing with the first phase. That first phase of getting a sampling of concerns. And we look forward to the committee that's involved in this sitting down and evaluating exactly where we are. I've kind of lost track of exactly who has interviewed which types of groups and how many reports have actually been submitted. Maybe Meg has some information?
I do. I don't have it with me because I ran here from my other meeting, but I do. And I also ran quite a few summaries through AI. I did it in a few different ways to kind of get different analysis, so I'll share those with you too. And I did try to get some statistics. I'm not sure how effective that part's gonna be in this.
Meg, are they only individual interviews that we've done that you've received? Have you received any group interviews?
No,
No.
I've only
Just
received what you guys have submitted.
individuals,
I
okay,
don't think anybody's conducted a group.
okay, all right. So we, is that 12 to 15 that you have about?
Yes, because I had some that people gave me hard copies of and then I put them in. So
Okay.
I have, I think about 12. And I did run some analysis on them and I'll share that with you. It was rather long the way I did it, because I did it in a few different ways. I took some of the demographic information And I put it in to kind of get an idea of where everybody came from. Some people are multi-generational, some people are newer. And then with some of the categories, I felt like they kind of worked well together, so they were kind of chunks, so I put them together in and ran it to get an assessment, and then I also did one where I separated everything out. And then it also depends on what database you ran it through. So I realized that different IA gives you different results. So I kind of played with it for a while. I'll send what I have out to everybody. But if, groups are the next step.
Were there any of the, on our list, were there any that weren't interviewed? Did everybody have assigned somebody on that list? I can't remember.
I think I have one that I haven't tracked down. At least I'm thinking he's on my list, which is Dr. Potter. And I'm, hoping to conduct that interview in the next, I know he's on our leaders list, so I think we have to do that. That remains. We still, Nancy and I did a couple of rank and file interviews, but we would like to do more.
And Bonnie, I've come up with somebody who I think would be a perfect person. So, and I asked her
Great.
about it and she said yes. So, I'd like to move ahead with that one for us.
Great, we'll try to schedule those two in the next week or so. If that's good for you, Nancy.
All right, so we get to the point, Nance.
There were some people
Where-
who were added in.
Okay, so if we have 12 or so submitted, and we're working on another 8 to 10 more individual in the next month, month
I'd say, yeah,
Same month or it's already
or two?
month. We'll try.
Month.
the end of
Okay.
October, because you're
Yeah.
over.
Is that, Nance, so you want to put it, say that the goal of the committee, we're in now mid-September, by mid-October, Columbus weekend, we want the individual interviews completed?
Yes, I think that's a good timeline, don't you?
Okay,
Doesn't
okay.
everybody think?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next question obviously is, since we haven't done any group interviews, are we going to do group interviews to begin with? And if we are, who are we targeting and when is it going to be done?
And are you asking the same questions?
I think that's a good point, Lori. It needs to be adapted for group
Yeah.
work.
Right.
Because the whole point is to drum up conversation, and that's going to lead in different directions.
Yeah.
And so we have to think about how the group work will be different from the individual interview work.
All right, so if we're targeting the group interviews, we're targeting them starting now, or are we waiting to Columbus and then we're working for the next 2 months? How are we doing these group interviews? When is the timeline for these group interviews? Is it fall, winter? Is it just fall?
Yeah, I venture, let's fold them together and try to have the group interviews also done by that time. And we don't need to.
What time, Bunny?
By the mid-October date. I don't think we,
wow, I-
That's super.
That's a
how
month
many
from now.
groups do we have really?
Just even figuring out the groups.
Yeah.
Already
Yeah.
September
Take a while.
13th.
Yeah,
Before Thanksgiving.
I think,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, well, either Thanksgiving or the Christmas holiday, I think if you do a group, I think you need a couple months.
For the end of the year, let's
Because-
say.
Yeah,
It depends on what kind of groups you want to do.
That's right.
So if you want to interview the fire department, for example, you can ask to go to one of their meetings and
Right,
interview them at the
right,
meeting. Same thing with like EMS. So it depends on if it's a group that's already going to be meeting at some designated time and you can ask to join them, or if it's a group that we need to try to pull together ourselves. Obviously, pulling together a group is going to be harder than like jumping in on a meeting. But I think if we sort out what kind of groups we're looking to target and
Yeah.
then
I think
help with
Meg,
the timeline.
I think Meg has made a great point. Maybe before we put a timeline on, how many groups are we interviewing?
Side the groups.
What are the size of these groups? Who are the groups? Identifying the groups that we need to interview, and then develop a timeline for the groups. Because if we're only doing 3 or 4 groups, and it's people we can do in a pretty quick manner. If we're talking about doing, 6 to 10 groups of people, you're going to need 2 or 3 months to get that done, I would think.
I think that would be very ambitious, and we also have to remember that now summer people are gone.
Right.
So the people that we're interviewing are really year-rounders And that's not the complete target of Shelter Island. So
You could organize a Zoom meeting or something with them.
No, I mean, that's a good point, but I'm not so sure we don't pay enough attention to the year-round people that live here and the needs of the year-round people that live on this island, which are unique, compared to the people that are coming for a month, 2 months of the season or whatever, that take care of their needs elsewhere off of Shelter Island, that they make doctor appointments and different professional appointments, you know, back in Westchester or in Manhattan or wherever they.
Their services here.
Yes, they're not, that's not to say that they wouldn't benefit, but I think that doesn't bother me as much. I mean, I don't think, Nance, I think if we could include them as a group, in a special group, and get a group of 8 to 10 people that are seasonal and try to get some assessment from them, I think that would be great. But I think, you know, what you poured in out, EMS or fire department or Lions Club or whoever you want to target, the Hispanic community, again, we have to go back to, are we even trying to target them? Is it feasible to target them at this particular time? So let's see if we can identify the groups that we would like to.
Jim, I just want to say I agree with you, but I guess when I'm talking about summer people, I'm not talking about somebody who's, you know, coming for a month and leaving. You know, I
Right.
would be talking about someone like me, of which
Right,
there are
okay.
many. You know,
Yes,
like members of the Lions Club, many people of the Lions
Yes.
Club are people who do not live in Shelter Island all year round,
You're
but are
right.
very committed to Shelter Island. So that's really
Yes.
what I was talking about.
Okay.
So, I mean,
okay.
your point is well taken, but just understand what I was saying.
Yes, I got it. And
Because I would
thank you.
be considered a summer person, I think,
Yep.
in the eyes of Shelter Island.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's a good point. It's a very valid point.
I think we need to find a way to connect with sub-communities, which
Yeah.
like seniors, you know, there is already a coherent population there that we can tap into.
And the varieties in seniors too, the disabled and the ones that are healthy and, you know, the yoga crowd and the mahjong crowd, and everybody has a different need.
Do you think we could do something at
We could
dinner
do it
bell?
now. I
Like
could do
after
that
dinner
now.
bell
Yeah.
and do,
Dinner bell's a good time, and
Yeah.
also,
because you
just
get a good variety.
Wednesday when you have the frail elderly,
Mhm.
and then we have the younger group that from 60 on up to maybe like in the 70s, 80s, that, you know, we could do that, no problem.
I like the idea of those subcommittees, and I think you've identified the number one subcommittee of seniors, and they're not all the same groups. So if we're looking to interview seniors, maybe it's 2 or 3 subcommittees that make up that group, and you can identify them for us. So as a homework assignment, if you can tell Nancy and I how you would identify those 2 or 3 groups, that would be great. All right, beyond seniors, how are we reaching down to people middle-aged and
PTA
school?
meeting,
PTA
PTA meeting.
Okay, a PTA group?
Yep, definitely the Lions Club. Like you said, EMS, fire, they're already having meetings, Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if they have a meeting.
They're not that active, I don't think.
Oh, they're there now. You've got a new, Alexandra's a new leader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
All right.
pretty active.
All right,
I was thinking it might be useful to tap into the libraries network
Yeah.
and see if maybe instead, you know how they do like
Do an
Friday night
evening, yeah,
dialogue?
Friday night
But maybe
dialogue.
they can do one that's just community needs
I
assessment.
like it.
They can
Great.
log in and
That's a
do
great,
things or-
great
Yeah,
suggestion.
Yeah, the parents that hang out there with the kids,
Mhm.
yeah.
But that would help get some of the second
Mm-hmm.
homeowners who are active in the library programming and do it by Zoom and stuff.
Love it.
That would tap into that.
Kids, yeah.
I love it.
Families.
That's great. That's great. That's a great
You
suggestion.
know, I'm gonna make a suggestion, this is on the side. I think we need a Hispanic member in this committee.
Mhm.
that
We're
could-
gonna, that is what we're gonna talk about in our closed session. We're gonna talk about the composition of the committee.
Yeah,
And Lori, that's really, really important.
yes, yep. All right, so if we were, let's not get crazy, because I don't want to think that we're going to do 10 or 12 of these groups. Let's shoot for, see if we can get 8 of them, you know, done. If we do 2 senior groups, all right, and we do the library. I love that idea. That's a great way, that Friday night dialogue thing. A PTA getting to parents, Lions Club. So we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 2 or 3 more. Let's not,
I would say maybe EMS and fire department.
Mhm.
They're two groups that we could easily access, but they're gonna have very different perspectives on things. I think if we do through the library, you don't necessarily need to do the Lions Club because you're gonna get overlap possibly. It's gonna
okay,
be sort of that same demographic, I think. I think the PTA is a great option. The senior center obviously is a really good resource. I'm trying to think of other,
The Hispanic
the,
community.
yeah, I'm not sure how to hit that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We know there are
like
people who
PTA.
employ a lot of
Yeah, I think your Chamber of
Hispanic
Commerce
people,
might,
so maybe the
Chamber of Commerce might be a nice.
Yeah.
how about one of the groups targeting students, though, somehow, that asking Dr. Dolger, are there class presidents, or do you have monthly meetings with groups from elementary, middle school, and high school? And what are they called? And maybe try to work within the parameters of school for that one. I think kids always have a lot to say.
Yeah.
I think they're important to reach out to, so.
Yeah, either they have a lot to say or they won't say anything. It's one or the other.
Like they're
With
comfortable.
authority figures there, yeah.
No, if,
Be an exit meeting for the high school seniors.
Yeah, actually,
That would be the most beneficial.
They're on their way out.
Yeah, they have a lot to say on their way out.
yeah, that would be a Friday night meeting, a night thing, not at the library, though. It'd be at some park at about midnight. You'd get quite a response.
Yeah, a little bonfire down at the beach.
That's a bonfire, yes. There you go. So,
So my memory is that we have 4 teams of 2. Is that correct? Who have been doing the interviews.
yes,
So if that's the case and we continue that and we have, say, 8 interviews, each group could do 2 interviews. I mean, could run 2 groups.
Groups.
And that doesn't sound too onerous. That sounds doable.
We get a lot of people that are very vocal that have coffee early in the morning, and there are different groups at Stars and at Ellie's, et cetera. Maybe we could organize a coffee clutch one day and they could all come and shoot the breeze with us and find out what's on their mind. Yeah, might be, it's usually retired seniors that are there.
all right, so right now on the count, we have 2 senior groups, 1 PTA, 1 EMS, 1 Shelter Island Fire Department, 1 for students. That's a total of 6.
And the library.
Library.
And the library is 7. Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce on there?
And I don't have an 8th one right now. We eliminated the Lions Club if we're repeating the library, but,
I think you'll have business owners who employ a lot of Hispanic.
okay.
Our Chamber of Commerce, yeah.
All right, Chamber of
The question
Commerce.
that had come up
Okay.
when we've been talking about this before was, are they transitory on the island? You know, are they just coming to work and leaving elsewhere, or are they
A lot of them live
year-round?
The
here.
workers.
Darren Binders, you know, Walter, they all live, a lot of them live here.
Live here?
Yep.
Okay.
That's important.
So Nancy, your idea of,
The Hispanic worker that I interviewed just joined the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
4 teams of 2?
Just continuing the teams that we have,
Yes.
since it seems like they've been working well.
All right, should we ask for, I mean, I would like to gravitate towards the students and perhaps the PTA. Only because of them
From college.
being an educator for 35 years.
No, that's good. You also have a connection with Dr. Dolger, so absolutely.
And I have Margaret that can help me with the
Oh, yeah,
PTA.
forgot about her. Yeah.
So we will take those 2.
Mhm.
The seniors, do we get 2 or 3 people on that, or just a team of 2?
Yeah, or I could even do it with somebody at my place.
I'll
Yeah,
join you.
yeah,
We'll
okay.
work some of that.
We got it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Lori and
That's-
John, okay. That leaves EMS, fire department is, they go hand in hand, kind of. We have two people that would like to do those.
Bonnie?
Volunteers.
Bonnie, you choose.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking Nancy and I could do the library.
Okay.
And EMS, I guess, yeah, that would work.
I can do the fire.
Okay, so Nancy and Bonnie, EMS
And the
and,
library.
and library, okay. Okay. Which now leaves us with Chamber of Commerce and Fire Department.
We can do
Meg said she'll do the fire department. I'll scribe for her and I'll do the chamber.
of commerce, yes.
So that's Gina Kelly on Commerce, right?
Yep, on commerce, and then Meg and Callie on fire department.
Who's on Fire Department? Megan and who?
Callie.
And Kelly, okay. She's a dynamite person. She'll do a good job. All right, so we got those 8 aside. So that's kind of, so now I feel more comfortable with the fact that we've identified the 8. We have, and Nancy, good job. I love the idea of 4 teams of 2. I think we can realistically get them done. I would still like to be realistic and say pre-Thanksgiving, how about Veterans Day kind of thing? So that gives us, a time away from the holidays, where then we can reconvene and start to, we can start to bring this information together informally. John can work on that with a couple of other people, getting this information together for us between, like a Veterans Day in the early part of January. Once January comes, we have a meeting, we start to put the information together, and we could develop a plan. Is that workable for everybody?
I
Okay,
think just maybe the questions need to be revamped so
Okay.
that we're also consistent, that we're not having conversations,
Yes.
that we're all asking the same kinds of questions for consistency. I think it's really
all right,
important.
so I want to go to the specialist. John?
Right, well, I mean, what is our primary goal here? Go back to that. And what questions work for each group to get at that goal, which is their primary concerns about life and living here on Shelter Island.
Yes. Mhm. And the questions may be the same, but the answers are going to be very different
Okay.
depending upon the groups.
And even the questions may be altered somewhat for different groups.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of a sense of feel that you have. Even with the interviews, the individual interviews, we knew how to modify the questions so that with different people, they didn't look silly,
Sure.
Well, and distinguishing their professional from their individual roles and answers, right? I mean,
Right.
and many of these groups we're talking about have a formal function in the town, so. But yeah, I think we should look at the original interview questions and then just pare them down perhaps, and see how workable they would be. And we can do that via email, right?
Yes. Who wants to volunteer to get together to do that? I don't think everybody needs to be involved in that.
Well, I was thinking maybe we'll start a Google Doc where,
Okay.
we take the original interview and
Okay.
and each of us can mark
All
it
right,
up, and
I
then,
like it, okay. All right, great suggestion.
Okay.
Okay,
And as I wrote in an email to John, and I don't know if people would agree with this or not. I mean, my sense is that after we finish the groups, we're kind of done. I don't know that we need to go ahead with the questionnaires. I think that might be a lot of work and very little bang for the buck in terms of what we're going to get from that. So I just wanted to throw that out.
you mean the mailings, Nance?
The mailings.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, my sense is that after the individual interviews and the group interviews, I mean, this is not an exhaustive study, what we're doing. We really just want to see what kind of programming, we want to do for the next year or so. So that's really what we're looking at. And it seems to me that the questionnaires at this point, or the The mailing might be overkill.
We should do it.
Yeah. I looked at John's, just in Greenport, after putting out 500 questionnaires, to get 177 back is enormous.
Yeah.
That's enormous.
It-
And I
well,
think
that's
people are
1/3.
more honest, sorry, people are more honest and open. I think in a group session, people are not, because everybody's watching and they're very careful about what you say.
Very
In
measured.
a questionnaire, I think you're there to freely state. And I think we want to kind of move away from like all the stuff is, oh, we have breathtaking views and, you know what I mean? I mean, that's great. We all know that. Like there's stuff we already know that's basic. We take a ferry. I didn't need a questionnaire to find that out. What are we getting at? What are the needs? And I think people are more likely to do that in a questionnaire. 177 in Greenport is a really high percentage for a questionnaire.
It's, I think, inappropriate to exactly compare what we're doing to what they're doing, because that was really a business-focused study that they did. The challenge with groups is that there's usually one or two people who dominate. And that the answers in groups can be skewed in some odd ways that give you an impression beyond what a more quantitative survey would have. Maybe we take a look at where we are after all these groups are done and ask ourselves, well, this is an interim report. Are we satisfied with this? Has it taken us where we want to go, which is beyond just the what are your concerns, to what might we suggest be done about these concerns? I think, is that not part of our preview here? Purview,
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
I think that's a great idea, that after we finish with the groups, we take a pause and assess and see whether more is needed or see whether we're there.
Yeah, I like that strategy too. I think you take it one step at a time. Did step number one, now we're involved in step number two. Is there a necessity to go to step three? Do we have the amount of information? The groups may be able to tell you some stuff that we haven't heard in the individual interviews. So I like the fact that we just take it one step at a time.
But I will say that I do feel the broader mailing
Yeah.
does have the benefit of including everyone.
I agree.
And we've talked about this process, and we want people to
I
feel that
agree.
they all had opportunities. So far, we focused on stakeholders largely.
Yes.
So,
That's right.
it would be I think a good,
I mean, we're learning as we go. And we've learned a certain amount in phase one here, and now we're into phase two. And it'll dictate what happens in phase three if it's necessary. Eventually, even if phase three in a mailing is going to be a question of when you put it out, obviously putting the mailing together with the appropriate questions is paramount. But then getting it out, getting it back, and then compiling that, and then develop, we're looking probably at, if we incorporate a phase three, you're looking at something that you hope to have done by May or June of 2026. You're not going to have this done in February. This is going to take some time to do.
Not
You know,
necessarily.
which it's not.
go ahead, Reggie.
Sorry, I'm gonna just interject really quick. I have a meeting with Ala now on a separate Zoom call. So I'm so sorry, but I think we have to bow out. But if there's anything that I can do, y'all can always reach out to Ala, and I am more than willing to help with anything. So, and as much as I can, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm thinking you could put this into your doctorate study.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much for having.
It's
Thank
great
you
It's
for
great to
coming.
have
We
you.
really appreciate it.
So glad you both were on.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Nice to
y'all.
see
Thank
you.
Our
you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye.
I think we have exhausted that. Anybody else on anything? I think we have enough here to go on.
Mhm.
Old business, just Nance for the articles to the reporter and all the public relations efforts for the year, extraordinary. I mean, it's just a lot of work. But you know what? Gives credence to the committee and what we do. And you know what? nobody knows how many people are reading it, understanding it, appreciating it, but I guess, you know what? Some people are. And if you're reaching a segment, whether it's 10%, 20%, 50% of the population, it's money well spent, and it's good effort. You know, you're going to be helping people whether you know it or not.
What do you mean money well spent? They don't pay me.
Well,
You meant time well spent.
that's what I was, time well spent. Anyhow, thank you very, very much for all you do. Anybody else?
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that a lot.
Under new business, anybody have any new business that you would like to discuss? I am going to recommend that we do go into a closed session at the end of this meeting to discuss the positions that are not being,
Employment history of an employee,
yes, okay? Yeah. Megs,
what we call it.
what, could we state that for the record?
Yeah, we're gonna go into an executive session to discuss the employment history of an employee.
Okay. All right, with that in mind, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries at 12:17.
Okay.
All right.
Should I stay